essential to the information being conveyed. Note A1. Logotypes, text that is part of a logo or brand name, are considered essential. Success criterion January 10 reflow. Understanding reflow. Content can be presented without loss of information or functionality, and without requiring scrolling in 2 dimensions for vertical scrolling content at a width equivalent to 320 CSS pixels. Horizontal scrolling content at a height equivalent to 256 CSS pixels. Except for parts of the content which require 2-dimensional layout for usage or meaning. Note. 320 CSS pixels is equivalent to a starting viewport width of 1280 CSS pixels wide at 400% zoom. For web content which are designed to scroll horizontally, e.g. with vertical text, the 256 CSS pixels is equivalent to a starting viewport height of 1024px at 400% zoom. Note. Examples of content which require 2-dimensional layout are images, maps, diagrams, video, games, presentations, data tables, and interfaces where it is necessary to keep toolbars in view while manipulating content. Success criterion January 4th, 11 non-text contrast. Understanding non-text contrast. How to meet non-text contrast. Level A. The visual presentation of the following have a contrast ratio of at least 3:1 against adjacent color, S. User interface components. Visual information required to identify user interface components and states, except for inactive components or where the appearance of the component is determined by the user agent and not modified by the author. Graphical objects. Parts of graphics required to understand the content, except when a particular presentation of graphics is essential to the information being conveyed. Success criterion January 4th, 12 text spacing. Understanding text spacing. How to meet text spacing. Level A. In content implemented using markup languages that support the following text style properties, no loss of content or functionality occurs by setting all of the following and by changing no other style property. Line height, line spacing, to at least 1.5 times the font size. Spacing following paragraphs to at least 2 times the font size. Letter spacing, tracking, to at least 0.12 times the font size. Word spacing to at least 0.16 times the font size. Exception: human languages and scripts that do not make use of one or more of these text style properties in written text can conform using only the properties that exist for that combination of language and script. Success criterion January 4th, 13 content on hover or focus. Under content of hover or focus. How to meet content on hover or focus. Level A. Where receiving and then removing pointer hover or keyboard focus triggers additional content to become visible and then hidden. The following are true. Dismissible. A mechanism is available to dismiss the additional content without moving pointer hover or keyboard focus, unless the additional content communicates an input error or does not obscure or replace other content. Hoverable. If pointer hover can trigger the additional content, then the pointer can be moved over the additional content without the additional content disappearing. Persistent. The additional until the hover or focus trigger is removed. Dismisses it, or its information is no longer valid. Exception. The visual presentation of the additional content is controlled by the user agent and is not modified by the author. Note. Examples of additional content controlled by the user agent include browser tooltips created through use of the HTML title attribute. Note. Custom tooltips, submenus, and other non-modal pop-ups that display on hover. Examples of additional content covered by this criterion. 2 operable user interface components and navigation. Guideline 2.1 keyboard accessible. Make all functionality available from a keyboard. Success criterion 2.1.1 keyboard. Understanding keyboard. How to meet keyboard. Level A. All functionality of the content is operable through a keyboard interface without requiring specific timings for individual keystrokes, except where the underlying function requires input that depends on the path of the user's movement and not just the endpoints. Note. This exception relates to the underlying function, not the input technique. For example, if using handwriting to enter text, the input technique, handwriting, requires path-dependent input but the underlying function, text input, does not. Note. This does not forbid and should not discourage providing mouse input or other input methods in addition to keyboard operation. Success criterion 2.1.2 No keyboard trap. Understanding no keyboard trap. How to meet no keyboard trap. Level A. If keyboard focus be moved to a compound or extension of page using a keyboard interface, then focus can be moved away from that component using only a keyboard interface, and, if it requires more than unmodified arrow or tab keys or other standard exit methods, the user is advised of the method of moving focus away. Note. Since any content that does not meet the success criterion can interfere with the user's ability to use the whole page, all content on the web page, whether it is used to meet other success criteria or not, must meet the success criterion. See Conformance Requirement 5, Non-Interference. Success Criterion 2.1.3 Keyboard, no exception. Understanding keyboard, no exception. How to meet keyboard, no exception. Level AAA. All functionality of the content is operable through a keyboard interface without requiring specific timings for individual keystrokes. Success Criterion 2.1.4 Character Key Shortcuts. Understanding character key shortcuts. How to meet character key shortcuts. Level A. If a keyboard shortcut is implemented in content using only letter, including upper and lowercase letters, punctuation, number, or symbol characters, then at least one of the following is true. Turn off. A mechanism is available to turn the shortcut off. Remap. A mechanism is available to remap the shortcut to use one or more non-printable keyboard characters, e.g. Control, Alt, etc. Active only on focus. The keyboard shortcut for a user interface component is only active when that component has focus. Guideline 2.2 Enough time. Provide users enough time to read and use content. Success Criterion 2.2.1 Timing Adjustable. Understanding timing adjustable. How to meet timing adjustable. Level A. For each time limit that is set by the content, at least one of the following is true. Turn off. The user is allowed to turn off the time limit before encountering it, or adjust. The user is allowed to adjust the time limit before encountering it over a wide range that is at least 10 times the length of the default setting, or extend. The user is warned before time expires and given at least 20 seconds to extend the time limit with a simple action. For example, press the spacebar, and the user is allowed to extend the time limit at least 10 times, or real-time exception. The time limit is a required part of a real-time event. For example, an auction, and no alternative to the time limit is possible, or essential exception. The time limit is essential and extending it would invalidate the activity, or 20-hour exception. The time limit is longer than 20 hours. Note: this success criterion helps ensure that users can complete tasks without unexpected changes in content or context that are a result of a time limit. This success criterion should be considered in conjunction with success criterion 3.2.1, which puts limits on changes of content or context as a result of user action. Success criterion 2.2.2 pause, stop, hide. Understanding pause, stop, hide. How to meet pause, stop, hide, level A. For moving, blinking, scrolling, or auto-updating information, all of the following are true. Moving, blinking, scrolling. For any moving, blinking or scrolling information that 1. Starts automatically, 2. Lasts more than 5 seconds, and 3. Is presented in parallel with other content, there is a mechanism for the user to pause, stop, or hide it unless the movement, blinking, or scrolling is part of an activity where it is essential, and auto-updating. For any auto-updating information that 1. Starts automatically and 2. Is presented in parallel with other content, there is a mechanism for the user to pause, stop, or hide it or to control the frequency of the update unless the auto-updating is part of an activity where it is essential. Note: for requirements related to flickering or flashing content, refer to Guideline 2.3. Note: since any content that does not meet the success criterion can interfere with the user's ability to use the whole page, all content on the web page, whether it is used to meet other success criteria or not, must meet the success criterion. See Conformance Requirement 5, Non-Interference. Note: content that is updated periodically by software or that is streamed to the user agent is not required to preserve or present information that is generated or received between the initiation of the pause and resuming presentation, as this may not be technically possible, and in many situations could be misleading to do so. Note: an animation that occurs as part of a preloaded can be considered essential if interaction cannot occur during that phase for all users and if not indicating progress could confuse users or cause them to think that content was frozen or broken. Success Criterion 2.2.3 No Timing. No timing. How to meet no timing, level AAA. Timing is not an essential part of the event or activity presented by the content, except for non-interactive synchronized media and real-time events. Success Criterion 2.2.4 Interruptions. Understanding interruptions. How to meet interruptions, level AAA. Interruptions can be postponed or suppressed by the user, except interruptions involving an emergency. Success Criterion 2.2.5 Re-authenticating. Understanding re-authenticating. How to meet re-authenticating, level AAA. When an authenticated session expires, the user can continue the activity without loss of data after re-authenticating. Success Criterion 2.2.6 Timeouts. Understanding timeouts. How to meet timeouts. Level AAA. Users are warned of the duration of any user inactivity that could cause data loss, unless the data is preserved for more than 20 hours when the user does not take any actions. Note: privacy regulations may require explicit user consent before user identification has been authenticated and before user data is preserved. In cases where the user is a minor, explicit consent may not be solicited in most jurisdictions, countries, or regions. Consultation with privacy professionals and legal counsel is advised when considering data preservation as an approach to satisfy the success criterion. Guideline 2.3 Seizures and Physical Reactions. Do not design content in a way that is known to cause seizures or physical reactions. Success Criterion 2.3.13 Flashes or below threshold. Understanding 3 flashes or below threshold. How to meet 3 flashes or below threshold. Level A. Web pages do not contain anything that flashes more than 3 times in any 1 second period, or the flash is below the general flash and red flash thresholds. Note: since any content that does not meet the success criterion can interfere with the user's ability to use the whole page, all content on the web page, whether it is to meet other success criteria or not, must meet the success criterion. See Conformance Requirement 5, not Success Criterion 2.3.23 Flashes. Understanding 3 flashes. How to meet 3 flashes. Level AAA. Web pages do not contain anything that flashes more than 3 times in any 1 second period. Success Criterion 2.3.3 Animation from Interactions. Understanding animation from interactions. How to meet animation from interactions. Level AAA. Motion animation triggered by interaction can be disabled, unless the animation is essential to the functionality or the information being conveyed. Guideline 2.4 Navigable. Provide ways to help users navigate, find content, and determine where they are. Success Criterion 2.4.1 Bypass Blocks. Understanding bypass blocks. How to meet bypass blocks. Level A. A mechanism is available to bypass blocks of content that are repeated on multiple web pages. Success Criterion 2.4.2 Page Title. Understanding page title. How to meet page title. Level A. Web pages have titles that describe topic or purpose. Success Criterion 2.4.3 Focus Order. Understanding focus order. How to meet focus order. Level A. If a web page can be navigated sequentially and the navigation sequences affect meaning or operation, focusable components receive focus in an order that preserves meaning and operability. Success Criterion 2.4.4 Link Purpose, in context. Understanding link purpose, in context. How to meet link purpose, in context. Level A. The purpose of each link can be determined from the link text alone or from the link text together with its programmatically determined link context, except where the purpose of the link would be ambiguous to users in general. Success Criterion 2.4.5 Multiple Ways. Understanding multiple ways. How to meet multiple ways. Level A. More than one way is available to locate a web page within a set of web pages except where the web page is the result of, or a step in, a process. Success Criterion 2.4.6 Headings and Labels. Understanding headings and labels. How to meet headings and labels. Level A. Headings and labels describe topic or purpose. Success criterion 2.4.7 Focus visible. Understanding focus visible. How to meet focus visible. Level A. Any keyboard operable user interface has a mode of operation where the keyboard focus indicator is visible. Success criterion 2.4.8 Location. Understanding location. How to meet location. Level AAA. Information about the user's location within a set of web pages is available. Success criterion 2.4.9 Link purpose. Link only. Understanding link purpose. Link only. How to meet link purpose. Link only. Level AAA. A mechanism is available to allow the purpose of each link to be identified from link text alone, except where the purpose of the link would be ambiguous to users in general. Success criterion February 4, 10 section headings. Understanding section headings. How to meet section headings. Level AAA. Section headings are used to organize the content. Note: heading is used in its general sense and includes titles and other ways to add a heading to different types of content. Note: this success criterion covers sections within writing, not user interface components. User interface. Make it easier for users to operate functionality through various inputs beyond keyboard. Success 5.1 Pointer gestures. Understanding pointer gestures. How to meet pointer gestures. Level A. All functionality that uses multipoint or path-based gestures for operation can be operated with a single pointer without a path-based gesture, unless a multipoint or path-based gesture is essential. Note: this requirement applies to web content that interprets pointer actions, i.e. this does not apply to actions that are required to operate the user agent or assistive technology. Success criterion 2.5.2 Pointer cancellation. Understanding pointer cancellation. How to meet pointer cancellation. Level A. For functionality that can be operated using a single pointer, at least one of the following is true. No down event. The down event of the pointer is not used to execute any part of the function. Abort or undo. Completion of the function is on the up event, and a mechanism is available to abort the function before completion or to undo the function. Up reversal. The up event reverses any outcome of the preceding down event. Essential. Completing the function on the down event is essential. Note: functions that emulate a keyboard or numeric key press are considered essential. Note: this requirement applies to web content that interprets pointer actions, i.e. this does not apply to actions that are required to operate the user agent or assistive technology. Success criterion 2.5.3 Label in name. Understanding label in name. How to meet label in name. Level A. For user interface components with labels that include text or images of text, the name contains the text that is presented visually. Note: a best practice is to have the text of the label at the start of the name. Success criterion 2.5.4 Motion actuation. Understanding motion actuation. How to meet motion actuation. Level A. Functionality that can be operated by device motion or user motion can also be operated by user interface components, and responding to the motion can be disabled to prevent accidental actuation, except when supported interface. The motion is used to operate functionality through an accessibility-supported interface. Essential. The motion is essential for the function, and doing so would invalidate the activity. Success criterion 2.5.5 Target size. Understanding target size. How to meet target size, level AAA. The size of the target for pointer inputs is at least 44 by 44 CSS pixels except when equivalent. The target is available through an equivalent link or control on the same page that is at least 44 by 44 CSS pixels. Inline. The target is in a sentence or block of text. User agent control. The size of the target is determined by the user agent and is not modified by the